Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. I have to tell you, Minor is a big privilege for the Capital City Streets program, and actually Dick Israel told me when we put it together that it was to keep politicians off the street in Annapolis. So the legislature's going on, so I hope everybody feels pretty good about it. Hey, all right, that's a good one. The first order of business is the door prize for the John Assel's Mercedes. You can come up here and get one here if you want to ticket. 175. So 175, better come up and claim John Assel's Mercedes. Once again, Ruby, you won it last year. Deanna won it 2 years in a row. I'm sorry. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad the camp brought the weather. And I have to tell you, when I first came to the General Assembly, Dick was with the Attorney General's office over the legislature, where he gave me guidance from the time I started until today. And I've never admired anyone more for his dedication to public service and the betterment of the community than Dick Israel. This is not just about an election that Dick won 4 years ago. This is a man that's committed himself to making his community better. And ultimately, if you had to put together an alderman from the shoes up, you couldn't have picked anyone better than Dick. And that's God's honest truth. And there's not an event within the communities that you don't see Dick involved in. And he tries to work with people. If there's a problem that's identified, how do you get people together to resolve it? And that's what a good elected official does. He brings all the different parts of the community together to come to a conclusion, to resolve an issue that's in front of it. So it's my pleasure to be here. And I think it's great that all of you continue to support it, because we support him 100%. I don't only speak for myself, but I speak for John Assel, Virginia Claggett, and I'm sure Ron George as well. We love Dick Israel. And I hope he can be the alderman, Ward 1, or whatever elected position he wants to run for, and be elected, because you couldn't pick a better person than Dick Israel, my friend, and I'm proud to introduce him. Give him all the money we gave you this year, too. Don't hold out.
We're coming back next year.
Let's have a round of applause for Richard Israel.
Thank you very much. I would first like to thank Speaker Busch, not only for his very generous remarks, but for the great job that he's doing for us in the General Assembly. Thank you very much. I also wish to thank Senator Carter, the chair of the Friends Group. Pam Finley, who has done a great job of organizing this event. Dependable Bevan Bookheiser, the treasurer. Finally, I wish to thank each of you for attending on this lovely spring afternoon and for giving me the opportunity to serve as an alderman. It is not work that I expected to be doing when I retired from the Attorney General's office, but I find it very rewarding, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity. One of the things that I say about, one of the observations I made about being an alderman is expect the unexpected. About 6 weeks ago, a lady came to my door. She said that on a Saturday afternoon, she said she wanted to thank me for getting a street swept. And she then gave me a bottle of champagne. Another thing that I have learned as an alderman is never contradict a grateful constituent. I thank the lady for her gracious gesture and for the bottle of champagne. And then it occurred to me, if this lady gave me a bottle of champagne because she thinks I got the street swept, I don't think she has very high expectations for us. And what are those expectations? The first responsibility of city government is public safety. It is the rule of law that secures the rights and liberty that we enjoy as citizens. In our municipal government, law enforcement is the responsibility of the police department. We're all aware that The crime in our city is rooted in the market for illegal drugs. As we begin a new era of the police department, it is important that we enforce all the laws and that we have true community policing here. But the police department cannot on its own combat crime. It needs the cooperation of others. And that cooperation, to be fully effective, the police department must have the cooperation of the residents, and that includes the residents of our public housing apartments. But in addition to that cooperation, it needs the cooperation of the housing authority itself, as well as other law enforcement agencies. And I am delighted to say that the state has taken the initiative with the Capital City State Street program. It demonstrates exactly the kind of cooperation that we need between the city and the state, and I'm very grateful for Speaker Busch for taking the initiative on that. In the long-range future, ours can be a stable, prosperous community only if there is a culture following the rules, and only if there is hope and opportunity for all to earn a living in a lawful manner. Historically, the public sector has provided employment opportunities for many of our people. Moreover, we have come to depend upon visitors as for our economic well-being. As I have repeatedly said, because of the unique attractions of the city of Annapolis, our residents must be prepared to share the city with visitors. But those who bring visitors must also realize that the visitors impose a burden upon those who live here, and so there needs to be a reasonable accommodation. One of the attractions for visitors is our remarkable collection of venerable buildings. We cherish these buildings and the unique street design. Together, they are a civic treasure. We must be constantly vigilant to preserve the exterior. However, we are not living in a museum. Property owners must be free to adapt the interior. When these objectives cannot be reconciled, we must recognize the potential in other parts of the city for new buildings that are more accessible and better suited to responding to modern conditions. This is primarily a matter for the initiative of the private sector, but the public sector also has a constructive role to play. Important as these matters are, our municipal government cannot be fully responsive to these and other issues until it deals with what I would call two foundation issues. They are the state of the city's finances and the structure of our government. We are currently in the process of reviewing the mayor's proposed operating and capital budgets. The budget is the most powerful instrument of government. It distributes the benefits and imposes the burden of taxes. In recent years, our expenditures have been rising at more than twice the rate of inflation. Moreover, our revenue is heavily dependent on property taxes and does not reflect the presence of the 3 million visitors who come here. For these reasons, I have proposed an independent blue ribbon panel to review our public finances. The other foundation issue is the structure of our city government. There is a well-recognized distinction between setting policy, which is rightly the preserve of elected officials, and administering policy, which can best be done by those who are trained in public administration. It is imperative that our municipal government has the benefit of professional administration at the very highest level. This could take the form of the strengthened city administrator amendment, which I have proposed, or it may take the form of a city manager. But we must improve our city government and the structure of our city government. As you know, this year is the 300th anniversary of the granting of the city charter. The significance is that it was the beginning of local representative government in Maryland. Like our old buildings, we should celebrate this legacy. However, it is important to understand that the granting of the city charter was a beginning, not an end. Like the interior of City Hall, which is in desperate need of repair and renovation, we must modernize our city government for our own benefit and to enhance our legacy for the next generation. Thank you very much.